Music, and nobody joining us there.
Hello.
Hi. Wow, sorry. You guys won't believe what happened to us. We were actually in a different account, and we logged into a different account, and we're wondering where the people were, you know. So we're pretty much going to start all over again. We've done some introduction earlier on, but
Hello. Hi.
hi,
Hi, this is CMC.
hey Shubi.
Hi, Jibs.
Hello, Stayems. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Wow. Okay, good. Thank you guys for joining us.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So our era, obviously,
Yeah.
we know each other's. Was wondering.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So okay. Now so I started off reporting myself, more or less giving you guys a very positive feedback. So last week, you remember I said that Fumi said that even though I'm in the house, I'm very rarely present. Or you could hear better in the background. Yeah, you can't keep her out. You know. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm in the house, but I'm not. I'm just hovering. But I think this week I managed to show up and make my presence felt. So
Invisible.
yeah.
He was actually in the same room, so we were all in the same room doing homeschooling together.
Yeah, you know, and
Well, I was doing the homeschooling,
and it felt good. It felt good. You know, I'm happy that that I was able to do that this week. So Fumi was just talking about what she'd learned in the course of the week, and because for us, one of the highlights of or what will become the future of Blue Sofa is that we want to be able to share what we're learning, and also allow you guys into our lives experiences, as it were, kind of conversations that we have on this Blue Sofa on days that we manage to sit on the sofa. Yeah. So Fums, do you want to tell our viewers what you've been learning?
All right. So so I watched the film Hidden Figures. So I don't know if any of you have seen it. If you have, give me a wave. But it's a really good film. So if you haven't seen it, please go and see it. Stay home and see it, should I say. One of the things that kind of struck me is that these women were brilliant. They were geniuses. They were mathematicians and they were working for NASA. And so these were African-American women that were working for NASA in the 60s. And in order for them to be there, they had to kind of go the extra mile. They had to be excellent. And the thing that kind of struck me was that, like even me and everything that I do, I need to be excellent. I need to excel. So I'm going to work, I'm spending time at work, then I need to ensure that my light shines brightly, so that there's significance in the work that I do. And even though for these women, that I didn't know about them beforehand, so many people may not know about them, but where they worked, recognized that there was value in the work that they were doing. So it's important for us to know that in whatever we're doing, whether we're a cleaner, wherever we work, we need to make sure that our work, excellence speaks for us. So that's a key thing that I learned. Hidden Figures, it's not on Netflix. I actually saw it on All 4, but if you Google it, you can see many options of watching it.
Well, it's pardonable.
But they had the men's movie nights.
Well, yeah, but you could have waited for me. Yeah, but
I wanted to watch something whilst they were watching something, so I decided to watch Hidden Figures.
So we're gonna watch it again. So
okay, no problem.
Yeah. All right. For me, I think amongst many things that I learned this week, I was reading a book yesterday, and in the book, and I think I posted this on Instagram the other day. It said something like, your choices, the choices you make today, actually makes you. And yeah, it's a simple quote, but it's something that, and I'd always said it in different ways, but for me, it just sort of hit home, knowing that whatever choices, no matter how simple or difficult it is, you know, whatever choice I make today, and it's profound for me. So for me, walking away from that, I thought, okay, well, I need to make sure no matter how little, you know, are contributing to what my tomorrow would look like. So those are some points that we learned. Now, Sophie is going to introduce the conversation for this week. You know, we already shared, you know, kind of a snippet of that in the message that went out. So, I'm going to talk about that.
Okay, so someone sent us an article actually, and it was about Jada Pinkett Smith, and you know she does these red table talks, and in that particular session, she said that what she's learning in this quarantine season is that she didn't really know her husband, and she didn't really know herself. So she's been with Will Smith for like about 23 years or so, and the impression that she had of him was not necessarily true. You know, she was finding that actually what she thought she knew about him, she didn't know, and so they're kind of having to learn about one another now, and become friends, you know, to kind of build the intimacy. So that's what that kind of struck us, you know, that it's possible to be with someone for so many years and not actually know them, and actually not know yourself. Yeah.
I think for me, the more interesting thought, I mean, is the idea that she said she didn't even know herself, you know, and obviously they have a public, a professional, you know, life, as it were, that everybody knows them, and the issue with that is that we know. I mean, Will Smith is one of my favorite actors. You know, I know a little bit about him. I know he's got Jaden and what's the total? Willow, yeah. And you know, I know a little bit about them, but then to think that even in themselves, there are questions about, you know, how much they know of themselves and of one another. You know, so that for us was, you know, just something to consider in this deliberation today. You know, something else that came out of it for me, actually thinking about it now, you know, our session is called
Red Table,
and this is Blue Sofa. It's interesting. We never thought about that. If I actually didn't know that she had this red table thing going. Anyway, so as we thought about this, a scripture that came to mind is in Genesis chapter 32, you know, and what I saw, and as we also spoke about, is what I saw in that text is the fact that, and this is the story about Jacob, you know, going back to meet his brother, but there was a time and a season in his life whereby he sent his family ahead of him, and it was alone. And it was that time of being alone, actually, that he was able to experience his real self, you know. And I could liken that to where we are now, where for many of us, you know, yes, you could still be in your home with your family, but you're still alone within the context of the family. Or as an individual, you're by yourself and you're still alone. And I felt that experience, what has come out of the COVID situation for Jada, is actually a very positive thing, because you could keep living your life on the basis of a public persona and not really experience yourself. And I think that's actually very miserable. You know, so thinking about Jacob, how he had to wrestle with God when he was alone. That was actually when he began to really discover himself. Because when he wrestled with that angel in that scripture, the angel asked him, "What is your name?" And he said, "I'm Jacob." You know, and Jacob essentially means supplanter, deceiver, right? But this is the name he's carried all his life up until that point. And we could see how in his life he's deceived his brother, deceived his master. But until he had that moment of being alone with God, you know, he didn't really come to terms or to really understand his real self. So, a few more thoughts to share on that. Well, I'm going to invite our guests. We mentioned that we're going to have some friends with us. So Manni and Lisa. I think Manni is probably online already. Well, we're going to just invite them to come online with us now. So bear with us as we look for the name. I'm not even sure what Manni's name is. It's got this.
It's Wealth.
Okay.
D2 Wealth.
Right, but I think it's going to be Lisa that will be on. Yeah.
There he is.
Okay. All right. You can add that one. Yeah. Okay. So in the light of being alone in this season of being with family, are there relationship revelations, things that have come out in your time of being at home with your family and your spouse that you thought to yourself, wow, I never really saw this side of myself prior to now, So Manni and Lisa are going to share some thoughts with us, trying to see, get them connected. Oh yeah, okay. Oh no, Lisa is here.
Should I cancel?
Yeah, cancel that. Okay, let's get Lisa in. Lisa, we're going to add you on in a little while. Right. Okay.
Add.
Right. So please join us and make Manni and Lisa welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
How you doing, Mr. James Bond?
I'm not sure, but I don't think this is James Bond haircut.
All right. Thank you for
How you doing?
us. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, that's good. That's good.
Do you want to introduce them?
Yeah. So I know last week Pastor Bimbo, when we had the session, said that Fumi and I are one of their favorite couples, and the truth is, I know Lisa will believe this, but Manni won't believe it. But they are one of my favorite couples.
It's a lie. But check it in the post, Pastor Banks.
Honestly, and I would always count on you guys to be real and to just, someone said from Agege with love.
Right back at you.
Well, you're not from Agege, you're from Knightsbridge, Lisa, right?
That's right.
Right. Okay. So, sorry? What you saying?
Cement bus stop. Oh my Lord, they know my address.
Man, we can't see your face. You need to move a little bit.
No.
I didn't say kiss your wife. I said just move a little bit.
You don't need to see me. She's the PR face.
He's trying to hide his growing beard.
His stubble.
His stubble, that's the one.
Yeah. Right. So, welcome to Blue Sofa session today. We really appreciate you guys joining. Now, I want to talk about relationships in the light of revelations, discoveries that you've made of yourselves in the light of this COVID lockdown situation. I was saying to again, I'm not sure. I don't think this happened during the lockdown, but some time ago. I think just about, was it February or was it February? There was February. One of the things that I usually say to people is that, Fumi and I, we married for 11 years and we don't fight, and we have such a very lovely relationship, which we do. I actually believe we do. Am I right? I think
You're fighting yourself, Pastor Banks. I said you're fighting with yourself. Fumi is the gentle one.
Exactly.
No, but the truth is, we have a very good relationship. And one of these is we're having this conversation. For me, it was a conversation, right? It was one of those conversations. And Daniel, that's our son, Daniel said, why are you guys always arguing? I'm like, if he had said, why are you arguing? That would have been a different thing. But he said, why are you always arguing? And I thought to myself, hold on a minute. This is a revelation to me, because I wouldn't say that we're always arguing. And even that, would you say that was an argument?
It was a disagreement.
Yeah. But,
Difference of opinion.
Yes.
And for me, I just thought to myself, that's interesting. So all these years that I thought, okay, well, we don't argue, we don't of course, we have difference of opinion, but we don't argue. That could it be that was just my own perception of the marriage, as it were? But it took
what an argument is.
Or what an argument is. But it took a an 8-year-old to tell me that, that we're actually arguing. The Bible says, out of the mouth of babes. And that was actually what it was. So for you guys, has there been any sort of personal reflection or revelation that has come out of this season?
I think for us, I don't think we can claim that we don't argue. Let's start with that one. Let's start the baseline.
I've witnessed a few.
We're both strong personalities and quite opinionated. So yeah.
Yeah. I think I think it's having a difference of opinion is not a bad, is not necessarily a bad thing. And I think one of the key things we had marriage counseling was Pastor B pointed out, you can disagree but not be disagreeable, right? So, and fighting fair, and not having certain words that we don't say to each other or disrespect each other, or and so on and so forth. So anyway, that's by the by. But what I would say we've learned in this period is interesting, because I would say one of the things I've learned also in this period is how different we actually are as individuals in our mindset, because I am so tasked and focused and disciplined in my objectives and what I want to get done. I see this is what I'm doing, and whoever is in my way, kind of thing, whether it's Lisa or the children, do you understand? The task, the objective must be met, kind of thing. And Lisa is very much people, compassion and caring and so on and so forth. So that can cause conflict. I mean, I'll give you a prime example. There's a boy in our son's class, and unfortunately, his dad is late, recently, and the mom was not feeling well, and she was quite worried that it was COVID, right? And immediately Lisa was like, let's go and get him. He's coming to our house. And I'm like, whoa. We have our own children here. I mean, even if it's just us, I can see your compassion and, wanting to look after this boy. But I'm like, hold on a minute. Are we then going to, if this is truly COVID, are we going to say, okay, we're going to bring, is he exposed? Are we just going to bring him into our house and endanger our own children if this is COVID? Whereas, and until I said that, initially I was like, no, Lisa, it's not happening, blah, 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 because I was already thinking that. But until I broke it down and explained it to her in that way, that, hold on a minute, in you wanting to be so caring about somebody, you can endanger your own family or the people who you are close to as well. That isn't their responsibility for you to bring, somebody into the house. We're meant to be socially distancing and so on and so forth. It was afterwards that she's like, oh, she had the light bulb moment. But initially it could have been an argument, kind of a debate thing, because she couldn't see that, no, he must come to our house, is the right thing to do, is a Christian thing to do, and so on. So I'm like, no, this boy, we don't know if this is COVID or not. If it is COVID, is it really right for us to, expose our own children to the virus if in us trying to do good? Yeah. And, it was until she had the light bulb moment, it was an issue. What's your side to that?
Yes, I think it was going to, I personally, I just couldn't understand. For me, it wasn't, I didn't have to think twice about it. When he called me, I was like, yeah, I will come and get you. And that was because there would have been nobody else around who would have been able to care for him in that moment. So I didn't think twice, and so when I mentioned to him that, look, it's more than likely I'm going to have to go and get him, he was like, you can't. And for me, I was like, well, why are you being selfish? Why can I not?
Was that
yeah. Sorry?
Was that a revelation?
What, that he was being selfish?
Pastor Bag, she was already gone. She was just giving me notice that, hey, by the way, if you're looking for me, I'm on my way to go and pick up a parcel.
I couldn't even understand why it would be an issue, because I know he cares for this child in question. We both do. You know, it's not the first time where we've had him around, and we've had him around for days and whatever else. So I just didn't think, but I hadn't thought, Manni sees the bigger picture. I don't, you know. So it wasn't until, I suppose, he said, you know, and he mentioned about, okay, the children, let's first of all find out what the situation is before jumping into it. So yes, I think what I would probably say I learned from that is the importance of just slowing down and sometimes just trying to listen. Because I think I was pretty much already ready to, I was ready to fight for the reason why it was important for me to be there for him.
Yeah.
But yes, so in that moment, I sort of stopped. And I think another thing that I've definitely learned in this season is that sometimes we just have to agree to disagree. Where in the past, I would have felt that we needed to either just acknowledge that, okay, somebody is right, somebody is wrong, or let's figure it out, let's sort it out. I think after 12, 13 years of marriage, we're learning now that there's some things, because we're such different individuals, different human beings, there's some things we don't, not that we don't resolve it, but we let it go, and we're like, right, okay, we're just going to have to agree to disagree on this situation and move on. So, yeah.
I think also, it is also, you know, recognizing my own selfishness in a way, in how I process and see things. And I can be, you know, extremely logical in my processing and my thinking. And sometimes you
lack empathy.
Ouch.
We go to a real church, so we gotta be real.
Please, on Instagram, like, are you able to cut that line, please? That line, she didn't say that.
Manni, I'm sure that Fumi will probably say the same of me.
So I think, it's just sometimes when we are in the heat of a disagreement or saying things or having a difference of opinion, sometimes we need to be wise in how we, sometimes rather than attacking the individual, in that instance, by me saying to her, okay, I see what you want to do, but are we endangering our own children in you wanting to do good here? Then the light bulb moment came. Now, contra that, you know, Lisa is always trying to she's always trying to get us to have our family quiet time together and so on and so forth, especially involving the children. Whereas me, because I am disciplined in my time, I'm going to wake up at this time, I'm going to read my Bible, have my quiet time to such and such a time, then I'm going to do work. And I don't want to be, oh, we're waiting for this person, or we have to wake this person up. I just leave Lisa to it. And so essentially, she's the one that's dealing with all of that most of the time. So we were having this debate, and she was like, you know, that, I think, do you want to, in your own words, you know, about me being, about you taking on the responsibility of that, and me not being more involved?
Ever since we've had the children for years, raising them to have a quiet time, a personal relationship with God from an early age is a big deal for me. So when it comes to their spiritual growth, I feel that I'm the one who's invested in that. Now, he's invested in them in the sense of he prays for them. Manni will fast 7 days a week, no question, but he's doing that on his own. I feel that there's a place for that, and that's his area of strength. I also feel there's a place for visibility. I don't want them to grow up just feeling as though it's mummy who leads that. And so for years, I used to go on and on and on and on. And I felt like I got to a point where I felt like God was just saying to me, stop nagging him about it. Just do what you need to do. And so what I started to do actually is I started reporting him to God. And I was like, God, this thing is really important. This is really important for me. Like, you know what's on my heart. It's really, really important for me. So help him see it. And I think eventually he did. I think there were different things that happened. He had a dream and et cetera, et cetera. And eventually he did. And so he started, not that he wouldn't get involved, but he would always put it on me. So if I said like, okay, this week we're having quiet time and so time, he'd be like, look, I'm up for it. I will be there. Just let me know. And I'm like, you can't just put it all on me. It has to be both of us doing this. And so, yes, so we had a conversation recently, and it came back down to this again. So sometimes Manni will slack and it'll just end up being me and the kids. And so I brought it up and I said, look, you've been doing such a great job. However, I feel that, we're kind of falling back where it comes to praying with them, Bible study and stuff like that, especially in this COVID season where they're at home. There's no restriction to, oh, we're rushing to school or we're rushing to work. This is the perfect time. And so he's like, oh, but I'm invested. I was like, no, I'm the one who I feel I'm more invested in their spiritual growth. And I was like, no, of course not. I am. I was like, okay, so fine. And I didn't come attacking him or anything. I said, so
sure.
Give me an example. I said, give me an example of how you feel you are invested. And he's like, oh, well, I encourage them to have their quiet time. And I was like, well, how? I'm the one who gets them all the resources. I'm the one who sits them down. I'm the one who's taught them how to do this. I'm the one who's taught them how to do that. And he couldn't actually tell me how.
Light bulb moment.
Revelation.
when she asked me that question about, when she gave the examples of how she was invested.
He stopped it for the first time in his life. He had no words.
And then she asked me, okay, so how are you invested, or what do you do? I'm like, So she just she really caught me there. I was like, okay, because I think, well, hold on, I pray with the children all the time. I'm the one fasting.
You pray for them.
5 days a week, I'm fasting for them, blah, blah, blah. So when she asked me that question, it was almost like, in the Bible when Prophet Samuel, went to David and gave him this story about, a king who sent, when he sent, when David sent Uriah to the front line, and David was saying, oh, he's so guilty, he's this and blah, blah, blah. When she asked me that question, I kind of saw myself like, whoa, okay. So then I kind of got it, that, what, I think I'd kind of taken advantage that, she's the intentional parenting. She's the,
I'm intentional
precious,
about what I do.
What is your fan club?
Mm-hmm.
Your fan club, what are you called? Something Mamas.
Oh, Blossom Mamas.
Blossom Mamas, yes. Her ministry. So, I guess I kind of, left her with that. And so when she asked me that question, I guess I was taking advantage of the fact that that was her area. And I leaned, it was more, I would say, 90-10 towards her in that area. So I saw that I needed to do more and step up.
Okay. So
and it didn't end up.
Sorry?
That conversation didn't end up in an argument. It was
well done.
Yes.
So there are two revelations here now. So Manni actually got the message, right? Mm-hmm. Because it was a light bulb moment for him. But I think there's also the revelation that we could actually have this thing in a nice way without having an argument.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah, I think you can if you saw it, because I guess because as I said, I've always thought to myself, you know what, I'm fasting, I fast all the time, a lot for them. I pray, with them. I give them like memory verses to learn.
It threatens them to learn the scriptures.
So I'm thinking that's, but what, Lisa wants us to sit down as a family and show them a pattern of Bible study together as a family. Whereas I'm selfish, like I want to be by myself. I want to pray by myself. I want to study the word by myself. I don't want to do that. I don't want to be disturbed.
I don't necessarily think it's that you're selfish. I think the other thing that came up actually when we were having this conversation is, as I was speaking, I began to realize that these expectations I have actually because of my upbringing. Because growing up, it was my dad who would sit us down. If you're going to be late to school, that's up to you. We're going to pray before you leave this house. We're going to have a family quiet time together. And so that was something that I saw my dad ensuring happened. He didn't play with that whenever he was around. So I suppose maybe I had those expectations of him. And it wasn't until we were sort of having that conversation that I realized he feels that he's doing what he needs to do, in the sense that I don't fast the way he does, so he's covering us in that sense. And that's I don't take that away from him, and I acknowledge that. And that's one of the things I love and admire about him, how he covers us. But I also feel that there's the importance, especially in this season. We have no excuse. We're at home, and he's done that a few times where he's come down, and it's not been me saying this is what we're studying today. He's just come down. We're at the dining table and we get into it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's my husband. I love that, and the kids love that as well, and they gain from that. So I don't think that it's you being selfish. Yes, you are. Where it comes to Manni and his time, even before the kids, it used to be an argument when I'd say, oh, let's pray together, or let's do quiet times together. And it's like, no, do your own thing. So that's just him. And I think maybe for him, that time is just so sacred, he doesn't want to share it. Yeah. Where I'm kind of like, I need to show the kids more is what is it? Taught than caught? Taught than taught. Caught than taught. Yeah. And so it's what they see us doing, but he's always hidden. So do your hidden bit and then come out and let's show
even to the point of exercising, Pastor Banks. Yeah. In that, because I just do my own thing. Now, she talks about us doing it together, because I don't want to be accountable for anybody's do you understand? I don't want anybody to hold me back. I want to do my own thing. So yeah, there we are.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the other thing that we've definitely learned, and what made the conversation different that it didn't end up in, is we chose the timing, and it didn't come out of, we were already arguing about it, or it was more a case of we were just talking and then it came up. So I think I wasn't irate in any way, so I wasn't upset. So I suppose I always say, like I say to you, whenever I say speak in love. So if you're passing, it's how you're sending how you send the information you're trying to send to your spouse can determine how they receive it. So I think maybe I said it in a loving, respectful manner, as opposed to accusing you or saying you're not doing this or you're not doing that. So
that's quite good. Now I think just hearing Manni talk about these revelations, for me the truth of the matter is that I honestly I felt like God was speaking to me.
We're in the same boat, Lisa.
So isn't it interesting that we think we're on our own, but actually we're not?
That is actually, I just got my own light bulb moment now. It's a revelation. But God has spoken to me about it before, but the doing is actually what I'm working on. I also like my own space, my time, and all that. But definitely the right thing to do. Thanks for sharing that. You get something?
No. I think like you, Lisa, I'm conscious that I want to build that in the children from a young age, kind of thing. So I'm intentional, and I'm thinking that for this season, as I'm at home, they're at home. It's a prime opportunity to kind of build that in. So I'm having to kind of lead that, or kind of make sure that that's happening. And he will just, we don't argue about it. He will just follow in if he hasn't got another meeting or whatever to do.
Yeah.
Well done for me. You don't nag about it. Well done.
Stop nagging. I just report him to God.
Well, at least we got there in the end, so which is good. I don't know about the gym one though, so that one I think you're on your own money.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to win that battle.
I'm trying. I don't know. It's I guess that's the challenge, isn't it? You know, leading and carrying people along, because you don't want, in you trying to carry people along, you don't want to feel like you're being slowed down.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe that's why, you know, I will say it and then I just go and do it. And if you want to come along, you come along, right? And in a way, maybe the way I'm thinking about it, you know, I have to assume that responsibility, because, you know, we always talk about if you are leading and nobody's following you, you're just going for a walk.
Yeah.
And so it's important to carry people along with me rather than, I just need to find ways to make sure that whatever I'm voicing and I think is a good to do, and I want everybody to imbibe that lifestyle and that characteristics, you know, I need to be creative in a way to bring them along with me, and that we all do it and not be so scared that, oh, if I wait, you know, if I slow down and try and carry these people along with me, I'm not going to get to where I want to get to. I'm not going to do what I need to do. And that also carries to work, because sometimes, you know, when I ask, you know, some of my staff to do something, and if they don't get it, I just do it myself, kind of thing. And that's probably not a good thing. And I see Lisa, you know, a lot of times and she's very good at that with the kids, you know, sometimes I'm like, they're not ready to do something, I'll just do it myself. Lisa will be like, no, let them do it. They'll make a mess in the whole house. Like, she's baking with them and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And I'm just looking at these people and thinking, these people are just
about the mess.
I'm just thinking these people are driving me mad, because they're just they're just making a mess in the house, you know, and I'm just thinking about cleaning up afterwards. But Lisa is saying, no, they're learning. They're going to make a mess. They're going to make loads and loads and loads and loads of messes, but eventually they'll get it and they'll perfect it. And then, you know, they'll be good at it. But I'm thinking, no. Wait till they're older, then get them to do it, you know.
Too late.
And then, but she's, no. Teach them now, let them start practicing how to do those things now, and allow the messes, allow the mistakes, you know, and that's how they learn. But I'm thinking, if he's going to make a mess, if, you know, they cook they've
with
been
me.
Cooking and making.
Cook, and he's horrified when he sees the girls, or even Joel, by the cooker, because he's like, there's fire. I'm like, I'm here. This is how they learn to do things. So,
you know, so now we, you know, we're able to, you know, have lie-ins, you know, on you know, in the mornings, weekends, and so on, because she trusts them to get the ladders out to make themselves breakfast, and then when we come down, we see the whole kitchen's a mess, and then we have to clean up. But sooner or later, eventually they'll get there. But for me, a lot of, you know, I will, you know, up until recently, I will always come down, make them breakfast, clean up, and make sure the house is tidy, rather than allow them to come down and make a mess for themselves. So I'm learning. That's good. Wow. I mean, some precious revelations in this time. Very good. You know, well, we don't have, I think we only have about 10 more minutes to go. You guys have done very, very well. Thank you. Again, as we're having this conversation about this time of being alone, something that Pastor Bimbo mentioned yesterday, and I think this is more, not only for singles, but this also applies to everyone else. You know, as I was praying about it, it was like God just started to minister to me or speak to my heart that the time of being alone is actually a gift, really. Because there's a big difference between being alone. In fact, the word of difference between being alone and being lonely. You know, some people interpret being alone to be the same as being lonely. You know, and I just thought of the gentleman that I mentioned last week that said that, wow, this time of being alone, as for him, the revelation is that he is lonely. When I haven't come to that sort of revelation, he then decided that his own solution was to go and get married next year. So, yeah, interesting. So the question then is, how do we? I mean, I haven't come up with some of these light bulb moments. How do we ensure that we can actually take those
experiences and build them into our lives, not just for this moment or this season, but it becomes, valuable lessons that we can look back upon and say, well, thanks to this time of being, in a sense, alone, I learned these lessons and it's transformed my life in that way. How do you think you'll be able to maintain this revelation now, the devotional life example? I think that will be very useful to carry on. How do you think you're going to be able to maintain that?
I think it's the key really is being intentional. And that's one thing Lisa always harps on, is about being intentional. However, I am more disciplined than Lisa.
Definitely.
So
that's not a revelation.
Not a revelation, we know. So I will start it and then expect him to carry us along and finish it.
So yeah, maybe that's why I'm an accountant. I count the costs before I embark on anything. I think it through to the end, and if I think I'm not willing to pay the price, I'm not even going to embark on it. Whereas Lisa, she has an idea. She's very spiritual. She hears from God. That's it. She's gone. She hasn't thought about it, about any whatever issues.
It depends on what it is, though, because like with the kids' quiet time, that's been ongoing. Like,
oh yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, I agree. But I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
You are more free, and you go with the flow. Whereas I am more structured.
Yeah. You think, like you said, you think things through. You're very logical with the whole thing.
I think it through, and
I will go with the flow. So yes, we have our quiet time every day. It might not be at exactly the same time. So
yeah, I think the middle ground is that she's intentional about, okay, this is what I want to get done, and
so you're speaking for yourself here.
Okay, yeah, fine.
Don't speak for me.
I'm speaking for myself here.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to speak for us and how we're going to get these things done. Because the next time
I'm doing it.
The next time we're invited on Blue Sofa.
I'm doing it. You're the one who has to. So the question is, how are you going to
Lisa,
the devotion?
The next time we're invited on Blue Sofa, if they invite us again after these last 10 seconds, right? To make sure that I believe, so Lisa's intentional, and we'll start off on something, and so we need to get it done. So now, even the conversation we've had, we've said, okay, we're going to do this at such and such a time. And I've agreed to it that, okay, at 10 o'clock, so I'm going to have my quiet time. I'm going to log on to the office. I'm going to do, go through my emails, reply to a few things. Then 10 a.m., I'm going to come down. Right.
But what will happen after COVID?
Yeah, after COVID,
it's not going to happen.
No. After we've done that before, so after COVID, we'll change the time.
Go back to.
So we'll adjust the time. So in this season, we we were intentional about setting a time, which was, we agreed that it's going to be 10 a.m. and I said 10 a.m. for a reason, because obviously I'll have had my quiet time. I'll have logged on, checked my emails, replied to a few things, and I can, come down and we can have this time, half an hour, with the children. And another thing is that, another thing we talked about was, one thing we discovered is, we talked about, having date nights and spending quality time. I will say, okay, let's watch a movie tonight. What movie are we watching, and so on and so forth. And we do that, and then we came to the realization that in this time that we're spending together, for me, is this quality time. She asked me the question, "Oh, are we really talking? What are we talking about in that time? You can sit together and just watch a movie and not really have any meaningful conversation." Mm-hmm. And we find that it's often when we actually just sit down and have a conversation without any distraction, we have, a lot of meaningful conversations. We have a lot of meaningful discussion about differences, about goals, about objectives, about fears, about what's on our heart. And so we've had another agreement that, okay, on a particular day, it's not going to be movie night. We're just going to talk. So, you know, even in this COVID season that we're in the house together, all the time, you can find out, okay, you're having movie time, you're in the house, you're spending time together, but how much of it is actually you guys having meaningful conversations? So it's actually a few times that we've actually had meaningful heart-to-heart conversation, and those have been intentional and deliberate rather than, okay, we're having...
we're being forced to hash out something as a result of maybe conflict or something that has arisen. So just being really intentional about, because his idea of us quality time together, so we have a schedule, the kids have a schedule, they're in bed by a certain time, and normally we would come down and that's like our time together. But we realize that in that time, supposed time together, the television's on. So we think because we're in each other's company or in each other's vicinity, we've kind of fallen into that trap of feeling like, oh, but we're spending time together. But the realization that we came to is, no, that's not the case, because there are other distractions. There are phones, there's, you know, the TV's on. But when we take away all of those distractions, then we're forced to have conversations, and we find that we have very meaningful conversations about where we're at, checking in with each other and things like that. So we need to be more intentional with that, not just going to the movies or whilst we're at home doing that. So it would be going to be intentional with date night. Manni's going to cook. Woohoo! We're going to sit down.
That conversation never happened.
But the point is,
all I've agreed to is we're going to have a specific night. We're going to sit down and we're going to talk without watching, without any distraction or phones
off
or movie. We're going to talk.
Yeah,
that's all I've agreed to. I'm not cooking for anybody.
The other good thing I find about that, though, is that now if there are things I want to address, rather than it building up and not saying anything because I don't want to, I don't want to start conflict or anything. I know now I can look forward to that set night of the week and, hold on to it and then address it then. So I don't know, maybe there'll be less reasons for us to get at each other because we are literally we're seeing each other every day, like every second of the day, where he'd go to work, by the time we get back to work, maybe I would have missed him. Now he's in my face the whole day. I can't go anywhere without seeing him.
That's not true, because I'm upstairs in my office, minding my own business,
which is our bedroom.
Oh, that's his main office.
Yes.
Right, there's a question here. I think we only have the time to take this question and then we'll round up. I'm going to take the question.
What have you discovered about each other that you didn't know before the lockdown?
Have we not talked about that already?
What would you say?
I think it's pretty much how selfless. Well, I would say how selfless Lisa is to a fault.
Yeah.
And how that's not my problem. So I don't know whether it's selfish or I'm just focused on what I'm doing and without letting distractions get in the way. I think, Lisa is very, very, very selfish. She's very, very people orientated. And, and that's a blessing for me because I am so task focused, getting my objective done. I mean, it's funny that Tunji is on. I mean, there'll be time when Tunji calls me and I'm thinking of something and Tunji's just trying to have a conversation with me. I'm thinking, Tunji, what do you want? To get to the point. Kind of thing. And sometimes afterwards, I feel to myself, man, I think I was just rude to Tunji I was just rude to Tunji on the phone. But Tunji would never say it to me, but I know deep down, I think I was just rude to that guy, But thank God he has a heart of gold and he's compassionate, So I think I can be selfish. That's probably one thing about myself. I can be selfish. She's the selfless one, and I think that's why God put her in my life to smooth the rough edges.
As I think for me, one thing I think I have learned about him in this time is definitely that he has a sensitive side. He doesn't show it very often. And I think it was during one of our conversations, our meaningful, deep conversations that, you know, he said something and it hit me. And I thought it was so easy to look at him sometimes in the way he responds to things or in the way he deals with things as just being very
disciplined.
He uses the word discipline, the words I could use to describe it. But actually, do you know what? There's a side on the inside of him that sometimes just wants to be understood. And yeah, he's sweet.
Say it again.
Yeah, baby. I won't say it often. But anyway, yeah. So we've learned a lot, and I agree with the article with regards to Jada Pinkett Smith. I think it's you can be married for a very long time and then actually realize that how well do you know each other? You know. So
look, they're all coming abrupt, abrasive now. Wow. Okay, open season already.
I can tell you though that Manni, you scored some very good points here today. So tonight is going to be a good night.
After he cooks me dinner, yes.
I'm cashing in on that, Pastor Banks. I'm cashing in on that one. Don't worry.
Thank you guys for joining in.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you for having us. We've had a great time with you. Thank you.
Fums, do you want to introduce next week's session and then we'll round up?
Okay, so thank you for joining us today. So it'll be for 24 hours on Instagram and it's on YouTube, so it should be there if you want to watch it back. Yeah. So next week, what are we doing next week?
So okay, good. So next week, we're looking at doing some new things. So for us, for example, now this is a very, very new thing for us. So we're
to be on social media.
We're pushing way back our own boundaries, doing something that, this is in the deep, really. So next we're going to be talking about that. In this season, what new thing are you going to do? For those that know, I've just written a book on fearless. For me, this is one of those fearful things, and I think we've done very well. We've broken the points. We've broken the mold on this particular matter. So next week we're going to be talking about that. How do you, in this season, pick up something new, something exciting that you could look back on and say, you know what, this season I was able to do that. So that's what we're looking at next week. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed today. Use this season wisely. Lisa and Manni spoke about developing the devotional time with their kids, whether it's to develop your own personal devotional time, whether it's to read more, kind of thing. There is a little bit more time that we have, whether it's to rest. It's important that we use the time to get to know ourselves. So Banks spoke earlier about the fact that although we may be alone, it's possible to be alone and not lonely. It's also possible to be married and lonely. Mm-hmm. So the point is, let's kind of get to know ourselves so that if and when we do get married, we are going to complement that person and not look to them to kind of complete us. Yeah. So yes, I hope to see you again next week. Have a great week.
Thank you. So before you log off, someone said, how do I get my hands on the book? The launch date for the book is the 30th of
June?
Of May.
30th of May. So okay. The book is called Fearless?
Yeah, it's called Fearless.
Is that an online launch?
Yes.
Yeah, so there's going to be an e-launch. Another thing I've never done before. So I'm really taking my own records, So, so 30th of May is going to be a launch, but watch this space, and exciting times. Thank you all.
Thank you for joining us. Bye.
Pastor Banks, thanks for inviting us. Thank you. We really enjoyed it. God bless you.
Thank you.
Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.